Let's see. I would say so, and if it isn't this one that comes through, something else does. Your moon is in Leo, and Jupiter, the feel-good planet, is transiting Leo, which means that whatever happens, you feel good about it. And from the tone of your voice, I'm sure that you really want this job, right?
Yes.
There's something about it that's real special that you really, really want it.
Yes.
So I would say that you would be able to get into this position that you want to be in.
Okay.
And also there's something, what in the last 2 years has changed drastically in your life?
Well, I had a car accident last year.
Uh-huh.
So it causes, pain at the present time.
Uh-huh. That's interesting. How would the therapy deal with a current life trauma that you do recall in getting rid of pain? I'm real curious what the answer to this is.
Well, to give you a brief rundown, what should be done in a case like this in a therapy is that just before the accident, let's say 4 weeks before the accident, there was something in your life which was bothering you. Maybe there was a decision to take that you didn't take, or something in your life needed attention. Now, whenever we have an accident, we did not give enough attention to an issue in our life. So how that accident should be dealt with is actually finding out the problem prior to the accident, finding out the message that this accident really wanted to give to you, because an accident always is like a warning. If you don't do it now, it may be too late. You really should pay attention to that area in your life. Now, maybe you would be more familiar what area it is from the chart. And as far as the pain goes, there may be a traumatic phrase locked into that accident. Let's say somebody said, this was never going to end. Okay? So there may be a traumatic phrase which suggests to you that some part of that accident, like a pain, is not going to end that easily. Now, one other guess, though, is that the pain is supposed to remind you of whatever that accident tried to tell you. And that issue is still ongoing. That issue is still in your life now. And possibly it's even related to what you're trying to ask Jan right now. But whenever something about an accident is not relieved yet, it's because something that accident tried to tell you is not relieved yet either. Would you have any idea what that is?
Maybe she doesn't want to say on
no,
television.
No, I don't.
Okay.
In other words, what you're saying is if she can think through what it was she would have done differently or paid more attention to in her life at that time, if she can work through those issues, it could literally alleviate the pain from the trauma of the accident.
Right.
That's interesting. As an astrologer, I have this theory that if you're doing something that you really, let's say you have a job that you just can't stand, but you have responsibilities to meet, and they require, money to pay the bills. And sometimes people get a little bit paralyzed by this because they say, well, geez, I hate this, but it's got good benefit, it's a good pay. If I take this other job, I'll take a cut in pay. How am I going to do this? So they just keep muddling through. And as an astrologer, I see certain transits under which their body says to them, so to speak, okay, you won't walk me out of here? I will. And they get sick. Or the person who says, what I really want to do is take the time to do whatever, and they never ever seem to get around to it. Sometimes they'll find that, I actually know one person who found themselves in traction who said that I'm going to write this book and I never have time, and I'm just going to have to make sure I get time one way or another. Well, they got in an accident, wound up in traction. They had 8 months to write this book, and did, by the way. And that might be germane to your case, because once the book was finished and sent off to the publisher, that person had no more pain. Interesting.
I do find the same areas to be handled that way. When the accident
We've
is
got another call here.
dealt with, it'll stop.
We just got a few minutes. No? Oh, the light lit up, and anyway. It's an interesting way to look at issues that people deal with, because when just looking at anything in life, you don't have to be an astrologer or a magician or a therapist or anything else. Things go in cycles. We have seasons. It's, if nothing else, first it's football, and then it's basketball, and then it's baseball. It goes in a repeating cycle. Everything seems to follow in this ebb and flow. And by understanding where you're plugging into a particular cycle, it can keep you attuned to what's going on and keep you on an appropriate track for yourself. And I'm really seeing how the way you use the past life therapy, it's very, very different from a lot of things we've heard around here from people who call themselves channelers or a lot of other stuff where they just get you to remember this, and now what do you do with it? Well, you're on your own. You actually walk people through how they can utilize this information here and now in a practical way. You don't leave them hanging there without a net on the trapeze of, oh, now I know this, now what do I do? Like putting an 8-year-old in a Ferrari and saying, have fun.
Yeah, I may just add something to what you said about the seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, therapy is only necessary because people don't listen to their own knowing. Because, see, an accident or something comes into your life which really disturbs your life, only because you knew it all along. You knew that you should change. You knew that you were not satisfied with your job. And nobody wants us to live a life with an unsatisfying situation. So that cannot be the right way. So then usually accidents or some things like that occur. So really, we wouldn't need any therapy if we would just listen to our inner voices. And therapy comes in to really patch up those incidents, those issues when we didn't.
Mm-hmm.
So at least afterwards, we still have a chance to learn the lesson that life was giving us, or trying to give us, in the first place. So that's how I look at therapy.
So it is never too late to learn.
No, and as life shows us, if we don't learn, it'll keep presenting the same issues to us anyway. So it's much easier to really learn and accept and try to learn the message, try to learn the lesson. It's so much easier to go through an issue than to wait for life to present it to you over and over again. And that's really the issue of therapy, to learn about life, what is life trying to tell me, and to make the best out of it.
That's most fascinating, and I'm so glad that you were able to join us this evening. And next week, there's going to be a tape run. It's the 4th of July holiday, but it will be a best of show. So don't worry, you will still get your weekly dose of psychic encounters. And 2 weeks from tonight, Diane will be back live. I'll be back on the 22nd of July to do the usual astrological review for Leos. Of course, my favorite sign, since I am one. And probably one of Ingrid's favorite signs, too. It's a rising sign. And we'll be doing a piece on that on the 22nd. I'd like to thank our audience and have a good evening.